Hello everyone. This is Ranji, and this is my very first live session. So I thought of making this video after a long time. So many of you have some questions. So I thought making a live session for the first time. As you know, like many of the people don't know, I'm in India. So I'm not in India now. I'm in Germany. So I've come to my completing my master's education. So I'm in Germany. So I'm doing my master's in data science. And so some people have the concern about my channel, past week there happened some incident. So let me first talk regarding that. So first of all, what happened actually is that on June 9th, that is on exactly like 2 Sundays before this month, actually my channel got hacked, and not much people know about this because I just kept a secret. Because if I would like if I would open it up, then that would be much greater problem. So actually, my channel was hacked from a Japanese country, and so like he gained access over my channel and he took the ownership, and so I was in deep trouble at that time. Then later I just contacted YouTube, and he started uploading some videos. Like some of you might have seen cartoon videos and all were uploaded in that, and so around 10 to 11 videos were there in my channel. So I then was in a great panic, and I was very desperate about this activity. And so it was happening for the first time, so I was not knowing whom to contact, and everything was in a very messed up situation. And so then later I contacted YouTube India. Then they took some necessary actions, and then they later decided to prevent some this uploading on my channel on behalf of that hacker. So they deleted some of his videos, which was moreover the cartoon videos. And so then later, after some time, like uh, for about 10 to 12 days, I then later got my channel, and now it's working perfectly fine. So all those features which were hacked, like the community tab settings and all those many other features which were then disabled by YouTube, and then later yesterday only I got the all the features active, which was recently I got. So everything now is working fine. And so most of you don't know about this thing, and this is the first time I'm opening up to you about this activity and all. So yeah, let's begin. So any of your questions, if you have, you can just answer. So I'm waiting for your questions. So someone has asked, S Siddhartha Raut, hi, your channel has hacked or what? Yeah, so I answered to this question. Yeah, it was hacked. uh, like it was my carelessness. I knew many of these mails would come, spams would come, but then later, like I don't know what happened, but it got hacked. Yeah, George Philip, what's up, man? Yeah, it's good, man. How are you? I'm also fine. Yeah, so currently, I'm uploading videos on machine learning. So with this series only, this event happened. So it's on June 8th that I uploaded my last video. uh, then now I'm like having some exams at my university, so I'm just focused on that thing, because if I don't do that well perfectly, then I would be in great trouble. So I'm just focusing on that. But later you will get more videos on machine learning. uh, Hey bro, I want my career towards AI. What should I do, or how should I start? I've answered this question to many people. Like many people actually asked me this question. They want to learn new things about AI and from where they should start. So basically, I would suggest is that artificial intelligence is just a domain. Like uh, to do artificial intelligence, you need to understand what is first machine learning. Then you have something called as genetic algorithms. You have something called as deep learning. So to know all these things, basically, you should be very much versed with all the uh, mathematical things. Like you should know all the mathematical equations, like what all are the various necessary things which you would be requiring to do in machine learning. So it's like you can say the linear algebra or the statistics which you have learned in your 10th standard or the 12th standard. So obviously that would be the base for machine learning. So if you learn all these things, you will have a basic idea or the ground knowledge of what the AI is actually. So then later you can learn various of the algorithms which are there in my channel. Obviously those are like 3 years ago old videos, but you can just, so those things are basically the what I can say, the ground knowledge of what AI is. So the algorithms basically start from that. So from data structures and all, you have this BFS, DFS. So all those techniques are just included in artificial intelligence, and you basically need to know all those mathematics and statistics. So if you begin from there, then you can do something in AI. Next, on what topics you are working currently? Anubhav from Mumbai. Yeah, hi Anubhav. Currently, I am working on machine learning. So my course is on data science. So I thought like since I'm learning something new, then I thought like to put some videos regarding that, but not entirely on my course, but something here and there, just a generalized topic. So ML was there on my mind since when I'm from India, but then too I decided like since I'm going to Germany, then I will start ML series from Germany itself. Next, thanks for the great content. Your content and personal style are both AI powered nowadays. Thank you, Gunvat Harshit, for this comment. I very much apologize. Like those videos are like long back 3 years ago, and so not that much great content is there in that. But yeah, it's the beginning, and so it takes time for person to person to develop these things. Obviously, people still criticize me on that videos, and so I'm very much apologized for those videos and of the low quality, because in that initial days me and my brother used to take videos. Like I used to teach and my brother used to hold the camera, and then he used to start recording. So it's obviously like if you don't have a setup there. So I initially didn't put that much investments in like video recording. So he used to hold that camera, and so far it was for very long time, around more than 10 minutes. He used to hold that camera and then he used to record. So that's a kind of painful activity. So for that reason, these videos are not that good. The quality was low. Yeah. So I'm expecting even more questions. Yeah, again, Anubhav, are you planning for any videos on DL? Yeah, deep learning, since currently I'm planning to cover all the machine learning topics. I'm like, it's a very large topic, right? So I need some time to learn since I'm also learning those things. So it would be like, it would take some time, like around 3 to 4 months to completely cover the ML topics. And then since deep learning, when it comes to deep learning, it's like people don't have much knowledge, or people don't talk about this deep learning because they don't have any proofs for doing deep learning. Just all on the blogs and all, they just write these things. So I thought like deep learning I would keep aside, but instead of deep learning we can go with something called as genetic algorithms. So that is a new topic which is in current market, but most of the people don't know about genetic algorithms. It comes under reinforcement learning, that is evolutionary algorithms. So uh, there is a great chance of like I putting genetic algorithm videos on my channel. So like genetic algorithm, like you should know about how is the genes and all controlled, and what are the various derivations you can apply into your machine learning algorithms. George Philip asked, "Why don't you teach us something now which you learned after reaching Germany?" So yeah, I put some of the videos on machine learning. So that is a thing which is new than what I previously studied. So I learned some of the things, but that was all the old age backed things. So now, since it's currently new things which I'm learning, especially in data mining, we have subjects like advanced data mining and all those stuffs. So I'm just extracting some of the things so that I can put in a better way. So obviously, if you watch my videos, you will get to know some of the new things which I would be discussing in that. Uh, like in the new videos, also I would be incorporating those new things which I learned here. And what will be the future trends in technology? So the future trends like uh, AI is one thing that would be the future trend. The next thing would be like to do AI, you need to have machine learning in hand. So that is one way. Then you have something which I spoke earlier, that is the genetic algorithms. So you need to know what is genetic algorithm. So I will have a series on genetic algorithm a few months later. Probably I'm doing that course here. So I need to have some insights in genetic algorithm. Then only I will be able to teach you people. That is one thing, and then the other new thing is IoT, that is Internet of Things. So Internet of Things is also a booming thing which is currently happening, and another thing is we can say the blockchain. So blockchain technology. I have some videos like around 5 or 7 videos on blockchain. So blockchain is also another new trend which is coming. So the Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, he also like said he would be initiating some cryptocurrency in the next year. So all these things are the future trends. So it's all under an umbrella where you can just assume all these things which would be like acting cooperatively among each other. According to you, what is the exact difference between AI and deep learning and genetic algorithm? So, Anubhav, just AI is that branch where you just apply machine learning, deep learning, and genetic algorithm. So, it is one of the ways in order to do artificial intelligence. So, artificial intelligence is just incorporating something into a machine. Say, for example, you have some build some machine, and you want to like behave in the way humans would behave. So, what you do is you put something called as machine learning in that. So ML is the science or the mathematics, or you can say the statistics where this intelligence can be produced. So these are the sources. So genetic algorithm is basically comes from the human genes or the human neurons from where different impulses comes. So all these things can be put into AI. So AI is just the product. And so the input which you give is the deep learning, or you can have the ML, or you can have the genetic algorithm. So these are the various streams to do AI or to like actively perform DI. Next comment we have is what fields you will suggest a non-techie fresher newbie out of 12th school interested in building career in tech to pursue long-term growth. So it's all like I would not force you to take anything like to take this or take that, but it's ultimately upon your interest or your decision in which field you have your inclination. If that is more towards like programming, or if you want to like, or if you are keen to know about different technologies or like how things work or how stuffs work, so probably you can go for like after 12th you can do engineering. Like not only engineering, but engineering is just a degree. Like you need to have that skills, or you need to have that knowledge. Okay, this thing is performed in this way, or you can like ultimately the end of all these things is like you need to have some skills or some knowledge, so that whenever you go to an interview you can just showcase your talents and skills. So like after 12th you can in tech, if you need to pursue anything, then first you, like there are many sections. Like in tech you have, like if you want to go in like gaming, or if you want to go in some programming, some design, so there are different fields. So accordingly you have different subjects and different areas. So you need to first sort out those things, and then you need to like ask yourself in which field I'm good in it, or if I take this stream, then will I be able to perform, or will I be able to give my 100% in that? How difficult is to adapt the environment in your career in Germany at the same time? Okay, so this is one interesting question. So I would answer this in this way. So since my country is from India, and so from I come from India. Basically, we know our education system, how our education system is built. So right from our school days, we like go to classes and lectures. So like the teacher used to give something like to like for this question is for 5 marks, then you need to write all these points or all these answers, and then you need to draw, and then you just reproduce the same in exams, and then you will get that answer. So it's like moreover like a rote learning what is there. So like we are very much used to those things, but since there is a environment shift from India to Germany, these things don't work here. So like here everything is like, if you have even 10% knowledge, that's not a problem, but basically you should have those skills. So the skills that I would say is like you should have the analytical skills, the problem solving, or if some problem is given, like so obviously here like you don't see anything which you read from textbook. So from the textbook, if you read something, then you need to apply some kind of critical thinking, or say for example some analytical skills in order to like solve in different patterns. So if there is one question given, so then you need to know how those particular things can be applied to the real life system. So that kind of the rote learning which we did, that won't work here. So everything is based on some application or some research. So in which fields you apply it, then you can perform in that very well. So all these things we just learned and just reproduce in our exams won't work here. So everything like it's different. So from classroom itself, like if in a classroom, if you just attend one lecture, then if you don't uh, if you don't have interest in that lecture, or if you don't like the way the examiner or the teacher is speaking, then what students usually do is just they just walk away in front of the teacher. So this is some culture shock that I seen in Germany. So students, like if they don't understand one particular thing, they just walk away from the classroom. So this is something like I got a culture shock in Germany. So these things we never used to see in India. So like we were used to forcefully sit for 4 hours or 6 hours in college or school, and then we need to like learn these things. So we came from that background, and suddenly we see people doing these things. Like it's some kind of I personally don't like it, because it's ultimately you're disrespecting your person or the teacher. In fact, since I'm into this profession, so it is something like kind of disrespectful. But ultimately, it's like your time. So your time is precious. So that's why maybe people are going out and they are chilling out, or they are doing or going into some other things. Uh, one more question is, robots AI acts as brain. Is it so? Uh, Actually, I didn't get the question. Sorry, Anu AI, can you just reframe your question so that I can answer it more appropriately? Okay. A few more questions. Uh, are you told to do internships in Germany? Yeah, internships you can do, but like it's possible to do in some company, but the major thing or the major hurdle people faces here is the language barrier. You need to know the language. So, like, if any company also comes, they also speak in German. It's called Deutsch. So you need to know German very well. Like to do internship also, you may have the skills, you may have the possessed skills, but ultimately you should know the language way the way you need to speak in this corporates and all. So that is just the only thing. And what's new uses of AIDL have you seen recently that even made you go wow? Danke. uh, New uses of AIDL, uh, as far as my knowledge, it's mainly using applications of face recognition, like determining, like that is a old age thing, but they are like developing new things in face recognition. So deep learning they incorporate into these things, and they just determine the age of the person, like emotions. Like here, various things are conducted. So like determine the stress level. So for example, say in our classroom, say 70 students are there, and if there is one professor giving the lecture, then this system would just scan the faces, or like it's a face recognition. There is one rectangle which comes to your face, and that software just determines like how much stress level, or is the person paying attention to the professor or the teacher. So like they have this kind of research things going on. So this is something new, like practical things of deep learning into AI. Anu, AI asked, like, if there is a robot, how does it act or think? How to use AI? Okay, so like a robot, like to build a robot, it comes under robotics. So, like if you know the laws of Asimov, Isaac Asimov, so in that you have different rules, like how you can make a robot move. So that is basically the locomotion part. But to like think or to incorporate the knowledge of thinking into robot, you need to have this deep learning concept. So it's all a mixture of this deep learning and machine learning, which you just put into this robot. And so you have different interfaces inside that. You have different electrical engineering, you have different boards, and you just program into different languages, and then you make a difference so that the robot actually thinks. So that is another concept. So that is another field of study where you have, that's called as robotics. So more into robotics, those things come into picture. George Philip asked, what's the new recipes you tried after reaching Germany apart from studies? Yeah, actually, like since this is a change of place, actually, like in India, like cooking and all, I never used to do, and my mother used to do all these things. So here you need to be a person who can manage all these things. So like I just to survive for a day, I've like learned all these new things. Like I make rice, I make chapati, I make broccoli, all things which are good, basically dal, sambar, like most of the things which I like want, like my personal favorites like idli, dosa, and all those things I can't get here in Germany. And so if you try to get it, then ultimately you have to pay for a like high price, and then you can get it. But the food quality here is very good, so you can just blindly buy anything. Like there is no adulteration or like things which you can't trust. There is nothing like that. So like you can have anything like safely. So that food safety is basically there in Germany. And few more questions. Uh, Himanshu Podar asked, "Bhai, what's your view about Narendra Modi?" So Narendra Modi, like he's our prime minister, and he mainly encourages all the youths in our country to do good things. Like he encourages to like for make in India and all initiatives. So he should like come up more and more like technologies, like so that you can basically start up in India and you can increase the economy of Indian market. George Philip again asked, "Did your mom trained in terms of cooking before leaving India?" Like I took some lessons, like it's just a 1 month lesson that I took from her from cooking, but like you can't be perfect in making all those stuffs. Then later I need to practice daily, like every day from the beginning it just was a mess. Like some day the rice is not proper, the other day the dal is not proper, or some of the other kind of stuffs happen. So I had to practice. So cooking is basically skill. So that skills comes from practice. So over a period of time, you manage it to do perfectly. So nowadays, like since it's been more than 2.5 months, yeah, more than 2.5 months. So I could easily manage those things. So that's not a challenging thing to me. And what courses are you doing in Germany? So courses I'm doing here is basically one is the data science. So in data science you have like different fields. So currently I didn't took that many subjects because I'm new to this education system, and so like one is data mining, which I'm doing. So which is the different thing which we learned from India, or in fact you can see from my videos in data mining what all things I put. So from that some things are there, but some things are different. So that different things are basically moreover to application oriented to machine learning. So it forms the basis of machine learning. So in data mining or in data science, the machine learning layer just forms on top of that. And then you have some evolutionary algorithms, you have optimization problems. So that is one thing. And then you have some algorithm analysis. So only these are a couple of things that I took. Then some database subjects I have. So like all those SQLs and relational models and all those stuff. So I have not put those videos on my channel. So those things are not there. And how is the education culture different from India apart from practical knowledge? Okay, how is the education culture different from India apart from practical knowledge? Yeah, so in India, like in colleges, they don't give that much preference to practical knowledge, but everything just to be learned from textbook. And so you have to learn that thing from textbook and you have to reproduce it. So that's just a kind of shitty thing that I don't like, basically. So whatever you learn, you need to able to like think in that way, so that how can you apply to some things. Like since when I did my engineering, I already spoke in this in my previous blogs and all those things. So you should know like where to use, and if you don't know how to use, then you should at least like try to guide someone on the right path. Like if you like have knowledge on machine learning, then like you should do something new on those particular things. So that is basically the practical thing, or you can, if you have that kind of practical mind, then you can do some coding, or you can bring about a change in that. Frank Martin, you miss DMC. Uh, I don't know whether you belong from DMC, but yeah, I certainly miss DMC. Uh, like for my recommendation letter, I went to DMC. That was the last time I went to DMC. So like last year only, I guess in September, I went for some seminar like student counseling regarding their queries for their examination and how to answer those. So that was the most memorable day that I can say, like, because you are a student, and it's like, since I started engineering in 2012, and so along with me, many people came, and so we did our engineering in 2016. But like none of us got a chance, like to during that period, none of us got a chance to stand in that particular place and give some lectures. So I would definitely be very proudly saying that I'm the one who got that chance to like uh, deliver speech to like hundreds or 150s of students. So uh, I definitely miss DMC, my institution. So whenever I get a chance, like probably after 1 year, maybe if I get a chance to come to India, then definitely I would go to my college. Can you elaborate how to do PhD in data science or Germany or India? Asked by Siddhartha Raut. So PhD actually PhD is moreover like higher level. You are just thinking, your thinking level should be that high, or your practical knowledge about these fields. So there is a variety of fields that comes in data science. So you need to have essence of all those things to do PhD. But doing PhD is not that easy in Germany as compared to other like countries. I have less knowledge about other countries, but in Germany, it's pretty difficult, a little difficult, because hardly like in a if you take in an estimate of 100, hardly 8 or 10 people do PhD, because PhD is that much difficult. Like uh, here, what, since like in Germany, different scientists have gone. So like many scientists, many eminent scientists, like you have Albert Einstein, you have like many Heidelberg, you have Frederick Gauss, and many mathematicians. They came from Germany. So since they established some kind of scientific theory uh, in the field of science. So what in PhD they're expecting you to do is like you need to do some scientific discovery, or like a scientific thesis, basically something new that you did from your own way. So to think in that way, you need to have that much brilliant minds, I can say. So that thing is like it's a crucial thing. Like if you want to do PhD, in India, I don't know about the PhD things, but in Germany, it's difficult, since like I've encountered people and I've talked with them regarding these things. So I've come across these things. Like they said to me all this about these things. Okay, Frank Martin, you are 2018 pass out. Okay, fine. Can you share your resume with us? What things did you do in your graduation years? Which university you are in? Um, Resume, I don't know whether I can share because yeah. Let me check. After like some days, I'll just tell you regarding that thing. And what things did you do in your graduation years? Basically, what I did is I first I got to know about the system, how this engineering actually works. So in my first year, I even got a KT in mechanics. You people know. In my trailer video of my channel, you can just see those things. So I actually didn't know like what these things are, basic terms which are there in engineering. So I just messed up there. And so whenever you are into a system, you need to first understand that system, and then you need to act accordingly. So my first thing like I did is to understand the system. So here also I'm doing the same thing. I need some time to understand these things, because like these things are new to you, and since you are not exposed to these things before, it takes time. So it depends from person to person, like how they perceive these things. So, in India, if I talk in my bachelor's, I first got to know the systems and how the credit system works, and how the pointer system works, and how is this arranged. Then later, I gradually geared up in studies, and then it was time of placements. Then everyone was behind placements, like they want to get a job. So that was the ultimate goal of engineering. So for most of the people, that is the ultimate goal, but for me it was more to that. So then I just I also got into one company. So I was working in quality kiosk technology, so it's a testing company. So I worked there for around 22 months, and along with that I started with YouTube. So YouTube was something which took me different heights, like you can say, more than my actual job. So all those things which I learned, I just perpetuated on YouTube. And those things gave me some different kind of dimensions to my life. And so still that thing is there after 3 years, it's still there. And then I just started with some publications. I wrote some publications. I have C programming, then I have algorithm analysis, then I have some computer organization architecture, yeah, and operating system. So I've written four of these publications under Tech 97. So that is one thing that I did. So this is just basic things which you need to have as a student. Like if you go anywhere to do masters, then first thing is they check your academics. Like first they check how good is your academic, and basically the subjects which encountered in your throughout the 4 years of engineering, you had 8 semesters. So in 8 semesters you have certain subjects. So in certain subjects, they check whether in this particular subject, do you have the minimum requirement or the minimum criteria. So based upon that, they just accept your resumes. And all these things like YouTube and all those publications and all, these are secondary things which are just add-ons like to your profile. So basically first is like your academics, so that comes into the top place. um, what else? Someone asked, Vijay Pradeep asked, can you explain about bug bounty? uh, Vijay Pradeep, I apologize, I basically don't know about what this thing is, bug bounty. Maybe it is related to something testing, but I'm not aware of this thing, bug bounty. Sorry for that. Any clue about how SAP ABAP consultant profile is for future career? Um Talking about SAP, SAP consultants are very much there in Germany, so it's a high requirement in SAP. So, for SAP professionals, Germany is the hub for that. So, if you have experience in SAP, like minimum of experience of 5 years, then you can just come here and work. So you need to have work experience for that, and also you need to have to show German proficiency. Like you need to have some B1 or B2 level in German language proficiency. Then you can have some job profile as a SAP consultant in Germany. So that thing is there apart from all this coding, testing, these things. So you have this development and testing, automation testing, then you have manual testing even in Germany. They work on most of the technologies like Angular and Node.js. Then web development, they have CSS, HTML, PHP, all those Spring and Hibernate, all those things. They have in these companies they work on all these technologies, and apart from that they have this SAP consultant and SAP things and all this stuff. Yeah, Akash Hingde. Hi, bro. Hi. Uh, I've learned IoT from your videos. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you to share these videos to your friends, because what I can do is I can share all these things freely to you. And if you can share these things with your friends, so that would be a much more thing to encourage me, so that it can reach to more and more people. So you can share as much videos as you want. Since I provide them all freely, I don't charge for any of these videos. So I know like what it takes to learn all these things. So when I was a student, or when I did my engineering, so we basically used to go to classes and sit for hours, then some hours in college, some hours in tuitions, and then we used to know all these things. So it was a kind of hurdle. So now you have like many things, like you have YouTube, you have Udemy, you have Coursera. So there is no need to put much effort, like physical traveling effort, I mean to say. But most of the things you get from YouTube, that is of like free of cost. So just you need to devote your time, just stay focused on these things, and just you can build your career on that. So that's actually practical. Yeah. Uh, you did CSE or any other branch in India? I did my IT from India, from Mumbai. So I basically have an IT degree, information technology degree. Hemant Kumar. Yeah, hi bro. Yeah, any more questions if you want to ask? Who is your inspiration? Inspiration, uh, like I just inspire from myself, because like there is no other person like to inspire from, because I just compare myself. Then I was in like yesterday, like who was I? So I just compare basically from that to me. But I just don't compare me with some other person, because that is an insult to you. So I don't do that comparison, uh, like between me and some other person. So like you should not also do that thing, because everybody is not born the same. So everybody have different talents, different capabilities, different skills, different ability. So you need to just improve over these things day by day, so that like you can succeed in life. So that is my inspiration. It comes from like within, so it should be within, right? And sometimes I like watch videos of Sandeep Maheshwari. So he's a very good like person to influence in your life. So if anytime in any life at any point you just get stressed up in your life, then I just suggest you to watch his videos. His videos are very good, and so it will give you meaningful insights and way to think, and how you can train your mind. So different things are there. Anirudh Venkatesh asked, "What are you studying right now, brother?" So, hi Anirudh, I'm studying data science. I'm doing my master's from Germany. My university is Otto von Guericke University. It might be something strange to you people, like hearing like what is Otto von Guericke. So it's OVGU University. You can check on YouTube about this university. You can see like a video made on this like this university. I want to do job in IT. Give me suggestion for this. Uh, if you want to do job in IT, then like in IT there are different fields. Like you can do testing. There are testing jobs. There are uh, coding, like developing things. There are automation things. So like you need to first segregate your interest into which field you are interested in, and accordingly then you can uh, go into that field. So like there is no particular thing like you have to go in that or this, but then ultimately it's upon your discretion like where you want to go. What projects did you do in your engineering? What streams you were mainly inclined two example ML, competitive coding, web development, or app development. Projects basically, in my engineering, I did some kind of web development in my second year engineering. I did my web development. That was my very first project, to be frankly speaking. So there I got to know how this things works, and how the CSS things and all is incorporated into like systems and all. So that is my one first project, web development. So that is at the beginner level that I did. Then later in my final year, actually final year, there were two projects. One is the main project, and the other one is like a mini project. It was there. So moreover to the mini project, I got into more focus because that was a kind of payment gateway PG interface thing, which I just incorporated into my system. So it was like a book shopping website, where you had different number of books sorted by different categories. So classification of different books according to different authors, and so different prices were there. And so like you just click on that book, and so it's like how you do the transaction of Amazon. So in Amazon, if you want to purchase one particular book, you just click that book, add to cart, and then you do your payment settings, and then you check out. So similar kind of thing was done. So like I did with the PayPal system. So a sandbox test environment was there in that. So I just incorporated into my project, and then that project actually like it was working full fledged from start to end. So there was no particular kind of obstruction in between. So that project was a new experience, like to work with PG, that is payment gateways inside that. So that was one thing. And the main final year project, that was based on web search engine. So like it was a team of four people, me and three people were there. So we actually developed a search engine. So it's like not like Google, but need to have like large database for it. But we just constrained it to some few examples. And so we developed a search engine, like you type one particular query or keyword. Based on that keyword, it will just like scan what kind of keyword is that, whether it's a image of an apple or image of a ball or something like that. And based upon that, it gives different characteristics, like the intensity or the color intensity, or how the shape of that image looks like, the dimension, the size, the color, etc., etc. So like moreover, it can be said that web search engine for text categorization, like based upon the text you have some images, and so for that images you just prune your rules, and then you derive the output. So it was moreover kind of that, a search engine for picking up certain objects from your repository and then displaying it. Okay. Frank Martin asked, Vidya ma'am or Aparna Bunde ma'am, who's your favorite? uh, I don't have favorites like two teachers. Like all teachers are my favorite. Like there is no bias towards teaching. Like everyone equally contributed to me. Like for me sitting here, because like if they didn't give me that encouragement, then I would not be like sitting over here. So it's like everyone contributed equally, and so there were influence of other people in my life. And so like many teachers, and like not our college teachers but also like coaching teachers and all, so everyone contributed to me. Like for you also, you might be influenced with many people's in your life. So it's not about one people's particular contribution. It's not about your dad, or it's not about your mom. It's about the people around you, your friends, your relatives, your teachers, like other persons. So it's like influence of many people in your life. So that stands you apart, and it makes you like go to some other level. So I just have answer like that. I'm final year in ECE in NIT. How to get into top MNCs? I mean, what are the subjects that we must have a grip on and be unique among others to recruit into such a higher companies? Okay, it's a big question. Hmm. Okay. Uh, Subjects basically, like you need to know some basic kind of programming, like not that core programming, like even if you know Java, that's pretty much fine, because in companies nowadays you have this Java frameworks, and also they might be telling you to like work on these things. Like if it's a preliminary job or if it's a testing job, then you will have this kind of Java framework or Java architecture. Apart from that, you can learn other kind of things like Selenium. You can learn Python and all. So Python and all is nowadays mostly used for machine learning, but that too just it's like a core thing in IT companies. But for a beginner, or if you want to just get into these companies, then you can learn Java, Selenium, or PHP, or even web design, web development. Or one more thing is like called as UI UX. So it's like a user interface. So whenever you just open a mobile app, whatever just the front end which comes to you, your page, so that design, so that is also got pretty much attention in recent days. um, I'm doing MSc computer science. I have also used payment gateway integration in my project. Thanks for your suggestion. If I want to go in testing field, what I need to prepare for this? Okay. Um in PG, basically in payment gateway, what you need to have an idea is about the web services. So you might have learned all these things in your like earlier engineering degrees semesters. So like payment gateways are all an interaction between the web services, the soap request, get request, like from where which things gets fired and how these things are like handled. So you need to know, or you need to have an understanding about these things like web services. So payment gateway, like everything deals with that. And so you have some kind of API testing, you have testing on soap UI. So I did all these things. So in my company I used to do all these things. Like we especially I did a thing called as service virtualization, where I virtualized different services. So like I worked in like PG gateway. So my last project was in a PG domain. So PG environment was there. So I just know about 40% of things in that, just what I actually did in that. So I know those things much detail. So everything was about like services, restful services, and other web and soap services and all. Thank you, Frank Martin, for that. Are you able to manage the living expenses? Yeah, so living expenses is pretty much high than what I used to do the expense in India or in Mumbai, since I come from Mumbai. So in the initial days or in the initial months, the expense would go something like very much high. I would not say in this live stream, because uh, I cannot say those like numeric figures in that, but you can just have an approximate. You can have the approximate of around €1 is equal to 80 Indian rupees. With that estimate, like the prices just go high, and so you need to frugally invest on things. Like if you don't invest, then the like expenditure just uh, rises something like high, and you don't know what to do. So I'm like cringing on these things. So I'm basically managing. Like it becomes sometimes hard. You cannot like spend that much at all the times, but then you need to just segregate into small pieces, and then you can do it. Sir, I presented a seminar in my third year on IoT, which I have learned from your videos, and I do a great response from my faculty and students too. I recommend to watch my friends also to watch your videos. Thank you very much for this comment. Like these comments I get from my channel as well, but when it's a live stream, and so since I'm live right now, and so you people are just commenting, so it's kind of like person to person interaction which happens over here. Yeah, thank you very much for this. Uh, Cheru Kumudi Sasi Sasri Vidya. Sorry for the name if I spelled incorrectly for that. Okay, even more questions. So right now, I guess the people are only six people are there in this. So I expected even more. Yeah, but you should not keep expectation on these things. Like anything can happen. People may come, people may not come. So like yeah. And so I'm just winding up this session in next 4 minutes. So if you have any more few further queries, then we can answer this. Yeah, I'm waiting for a few more minutes. Yeah, any more questions if you want to ask regarding this? And yeah, this was my very first live stream. So if you want even more videos, or if you want, like, if you are willing to come to Germany and if you want to know about the systems and all, we can just plan for another live sessions or another like things, like discussion on various sessions or things. So you're free to have your suggestions on my channel. So if you want some kind of sessions like that apart from the uh, educational CSA related contents, you can just put on my channel. Then we can have the discussion and we can have some live session like this. Okay, sir, I learned C and Java. Is Python required to study now? Does it add anything extra to my resume, like it to be recruited quickly? Yeah, I would answer this like C and Java is like some old age technologies. Like some things are still built on these technologies, but you have to go with the time, right? So you need to learn Python and R especially, because these are the recent things which are there in the market. So like if you want to get to know about this emerging technologies, you need to learn this like programming, Python or C. uh, any topic or project for your final year? uh, like I cannot suggest anything on like that. Just what your college faculty tells on that, you can have, like, you can discuss with them. But project ideas are like many, but like if you are capable to do that, then you can take it. But it's better, since you are under affiliated to one college or university, then you can take suggestions from your teachers. Because if you take some project and if you are not able to complete in that particular period of time, then that would go a waste, right? So better is the decision to take from your college teachers, because they know what all things the previous students have done and what they are expecting from you based on your capabilities. Akshay V is asking, do you recommend doing MBA after engineering? MBA, like, no, I would not suggest like doing anything like doing MS or MBA, but I would just give my opinion on this. Like if you did engineering, like you spent 4 years of your engineering, and if you don't like these technical things, and if you want to do something different than from these technical things, or if you don't want to work in an IT company with all this like coding and all, then you can think of doing MBA. Like it's all kind of management things. So if your mind is that way, or if your mind is like having that kind of like thinking and all, not coding, not technical things, then you can do MBA. So it's not a harm, like after you do your engineering, you can do MBA or something like that. So it's upon your choice if you want to do, or if you are able to do. If your finances permit to that, then you can do. So there is no kind of like harm, or there is no kind of like a disadvantage to that. Okay. Yeah, project I said for second year student, if you want to do any project, then you can basically do like some for web development, some basic, if you have knowledge about PHP, web designing, CSS and all, you can just incorporate into that. And you can, for a second level, for a sophomore, basically that kind of project is uh, like suggested. So for them, you just start from the beginning, right? Then you study different technologies, and then you later at your final year, you develop various things. So for a second year student, I would suggest like web development, web designing would be the project that would suit your profile. Okay, thank you very much for this live session. So it's almost 1 hour and 13 seconds. So thank you for all coming and having a good session over this. And if you want many more sessions over this, and if you want to know about the German education system, how this things works and happens here, we can have another live session in some time later. Okay, so until then, bye everyone. Thank you for your effort, and thanks for watching this. Thank you.